Hello, everybody. Welcome to Monday Morning Must-Knows. My name is Merlin Rothman. Here are four, you know what, 5, 6, 7 things to talk about for the upcoming trading week because it's been absolutely wild out there. Now, first, let's talk about what happened last week. Of course, we had the FOMC meeting, which basically let everybody know, you know what, we're probably going to get a rate increase in March. I wonder who saw that one coming. I did. We also had Canada with a bank statement. That was nothing surprising. And then on Friday, we had the core PCE price index numbers coming out, which on the Monday Morning Must-Knows for last week, I said this is incredibly important because this will steer the direction of the Fed going forward. And all of a sudden, we get a reading that was much higher than expected. And all of a sudden, it's the highest reading since 1982. That's right. We're talking 40 years. How long is that? Well, when it was 1982, I looked something like this, just to put it in perspective. I had hair. My hair was blonde. Now I'm just gray and have no hair, to give you an idea of how long it's been since inflation has been this high. Now, to further add a little sprinkling of excitement on top of all that, when inflation was this high, what was the Fed's funds rate in the United States? 13, 14, 15, 16%. And right now, we are just sitting at 25 basis points. So we have a long way to move up, and that will probably be part of the direction for this year and our markets. Now, let's kick things off with the earnings calendar. Last week we had huge names reporting. Microsoft was a major one, Tesla. We've got some big names for you this week. Let's kick that calendar off on Monday with a pretty quiet one. You have NXP Semiconductors, and this is just one of 500 companies. That's right. 500. There was a lot of companies reporting earnings this week. Tuesday, you do get some bigger names. Of course, Alibaba, AMD, you've got Google, ExxonMobil, PayPal, General Motors, Starbucks, and there is a dozen more huge names on Tuesday. I just don't have enough space on my chart here. Wednesday, some major names: Facebook, AbbVie, Qualcomm, Align Technologies, Thermo Fisher, Spotify, Boston Scientific. I mean, you've got Facebook and Google back to back. Oh my goodness, how fun can it be this week? Thursday, even more. Amazon, Facebook, Merck, Activision, Snapchat, which I got out of my short position, by the way, Eli Lilly, and Skyworks. And then Friday, I can take a deep breath because it's not the huge names, but on Friday, we have Bristol Myers, Regeneron, and ETN. Again, there are 500 companies. A lot of these can have big impacts on the market because the market, let's be honest, is very jittery. Now, as we mentioned last week, we had a couple of central bank announcements. This week, we have some also that are very important, not quite as important as the FOMC Open Market Committee, but we do have two announcements that you who trade Forex might be very interested in. As you can see here, you have the Reserve Bank of Australia. On Monday, they are going to be reporting their rate announcement, and it's expected to stay at 0.1%. Now, keep in mind, they haven't raised rates in Australia since 2009, I believe. They've just been lowering and lowering, and back then, they were up at over 4.75%. So they have cut, and been stuck at the bottom. That's going to happen Monday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then on Thursday at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Bank of England will have a rate announcement. Now, what's interesting about the Bank of England is at the previous meeting, they rose rates to 25 basis points, and now they're expected to raise again. So those currency wars we talked about years ago on Power Trading Radio and in classes at Online Trading Academy, those currency wars were cut. Who can get to the bottom fastest and keep those rates really cheap to stimulate the economies? Now everyone's looking around going, we might have kept them there just a little bit too long, and all of a sudden, we've all got an inflation problem. It's like taking your dog to the kennel and they all get fleas. You're going, wait a minute, I need flea meds. What's flea meds? In the financial markets, flea meds are raising rates and trying to kill inflation. Going to be a fun year, 2022. Now, the final one here is probably my personal favorite. As you guys know, I created a cryptocurrency course for Online Trading Academy. We have a digital assets program and a live 4-hour-week program called Crypto Investor Live. And in that program, we've been talking about the introduction of Bitcoin ETFs, exchange-traded funds. Now you're probably thinking, well, Merlin, we already have a Bitcoin ETF. No, what you have is a marketing ploy by some company to get you to buy a piece of trash. Why do I say that? Well, if you look at the first Bitcoin ETF that was introduced in the US markets, it's called BITO, B-I-T-O. Ooh, great, I got a Bitcoin ETF. Well, one of the things we encourage you to do in classes is to peel back the curtain and look at what are you actually buying. If you go and look at the components of BITO, it's like 7% is futures products. Bitcoin futures, okay. Well, it's a Bitcoin futures ETF, so shouldn't it be 100%? No, it's 7. Well, where's the other 93%? It's in treasuries, government bonds, things like that. It's like, wait a minute, this is not a Bitcoin ETF. It's a small little piece of the Bitcoin ETF. So we got to be careful with what we're getting. I'm excited because those Bitcoin futures ETFs, to me, probably should stay away from. They don't really hold what they say they're holding. But if we actually get a real physical spot Bitcoin ETF, meaning this exchange-traded fund would have to physically own Bitcoin, this could be a huge boom for the cryptocurrency markets, which brings us to next week. As you guys can see here, Bitwise ETF, they have an application out right now with the SEC, and the announcement should happen on Wednesday, February 2nd. That's going to be on Wednesday, a pretty exciting one, because if that does go through, you could see all of a sudden a lot of buying pressure come into Bitcoin and the whole crypto space. You also have, which is a strange date, on Sunday the 6th, Grayscale Bitcoin ETF also has their deadline for the SEC to vote on their specific project and see if they can actually finally list a spot Bitcoin ETF instead of these futures, crazy derivatives products that really have everyone scratching their head going, what is this Bitcoin ETF? So keep your eye on those couple of announcements. That's going to be February 2nd and February 6th. Not going to have a huge impact on the crypto markets. That, my friends, is your Monday Morning Must-Knows. We'll see you next week.